Hi, my name is Matt Bichelle. I head up product marketing here at Aerospike, and I'd like to take 20 or so minutes, share with you a little bit about what Aerospike does and how we can help you, whether you're a developer, an architect, or a data engineer, as we really want to help you unleash the power of real-time data across your data pipelines. So let's get right to it. Look, we've all seen slides like this in the past about huge amounts of data and data volume, but I think the challenge here is that the acceleration of real-time data will make all of our jobs a lot more difficult. So the idea is how can we impact the business more effectively using the best technologies out there. So when looking at Confluent, I actually noticed that their website, they actually had a business impact of data streaming report out there. It actually cited these business impacts for the importance of streaming data and applying it to your business to add even more gravity to what we do. And so what they would say is that, as the factoid up there says, 56% of leaders, they determine that access to real-time data streams really helps with data growth. They say that integrating data sources, 60% says is their #1 hurdle, and 68% say synchronization between data sources is critical to achieving their revenue goals. And I would contend that Aerospike can help in all three of these aspects. And so from an Aerospike perspective, we observe in our client base a lot of these things bear out in terms of their infrastructure isn't architected to manage streaming data. It's difficult to process it because they can't connect all of the data silos, and it's just very cost prohibitive to do so. And so this way they can't really leverage the data because we're all in the business of data and accessing it in real time. Streaming data is actually perhaps the #1 way for your business to differentiate itself. And so if you work on an application, this is exactly what you're after, is streaming data, real-time data. So a lot of times traditional approaches just simply cannot deliver, whether they're existing legacy NoSQL systems, relational systems, or back-office systems. NoSQL systems have been around easily 10 years now. There are attributes of them that are not necessarily good for streaming data, that they lack consistency, they have high server counts, they're very difficult to scale. And so these are the competitors that Aerospike routinely comes up against and routinely is able to outperform in any number of facets, which we'll get into. The relational systems, as we might know, they have lower throughput relative to NoSQL systems, relatively high latency, again, tough to scale, even the distributed systems. And back office systems, mainframes, and the like, they're just very costly. You don't want to pay for millions of instructions per second to get that real-time scale. It's just a very costly way to do business. And we'll touch on a use case or two there. And so this is where Aerospike would say that, hey, we are designed to overcome limitations where these others fail. Now, I don't know how many patents the other companies have, but I do know that Aerospike has 14 current patents in the database space that cover very tried and true areas. Aerospike is built differently as a hybrid memory architecture where it actually accesses SSDs like DRAM, does block reads and writes, and it enables us to scale seamlessly, whether you start down from gigabytes up to petabytes. And the beauty is that the system performs identically, no matter it's a very small scale or a very large scale. We have first-class participants in the architecture. Our intelligent clients minimize data hops. Every node knows what every other node of data has on it. And so that enables very precise location of the data, no matter if one node goes down and its replica is what is needed to be read from. Aerospike has a very powerful cross-data center replication technology. We do use change notification or CDC, change data capture. And this enables us to get real-time change notifications. And this is a very robust, very global, it's not just a data center nearby, but it can be across geos, across countries. We also have synchronous active-active replication when you combine it with our strong consistency, which is listed at the bottom. Aerospike adds strong consistency to our already incredibly good performance of throughput, extremely sub-millisecond low latency. And I alluded to a little bit before, but our dynamic cluster management is very deterministic. The data flows evenly across nodes, even across SSDs within the nodes. It's not like you need to presuppose and divide up your data using sharding methodologies. It's all done very automatically and deterministically. So if nodes fall in and out, or you can take them offline or add them, or even do rolling upgrades. It's very dynamic and very seamless. We're actually referred to as the forgotten system because you don't need to always care and feed for it. And so if you were to think about, oh, I need a real-time data platform, what are the attributes? Aerospike would contend that these are those. And so high-speed processing and ingest from microseconds to milliseconds would be a good thing. You always obviously want it very highly available, which isn't always the case with NoSQL systems. Again, Aerospike, how it's architected with the things I just covered, we do have customers rather, up and running for years on end. And so 5 nines on-prem, 4 nines in the cloud of availability. Consistency, you would expect from a database to be strongly consistent. Aerospike is that. It is very validated by external testing, Jepsen testing. Please go check us out. And we'll cover data pipeline integrations, plug compatibility with all your systems. If you want to start your application small and you want to grow with Aerospike, we have proof points that we're massively scalable, not just gigabytes or terabytes, but you can go up to petabytes if you need. And again, our performance is linear in that regards. And so that predictable performance really matters when you're operating at the 99th percentile P99s. You still want some millisecond performance, not you don't want your performance to drop off a cliff. It's very difficult to program around. So Aerospike has all the benchmarks to prove all of these points. So let's talk a little bit about our real-time data platform. At its core is our Database 6 offering. We're multi-model, so started as key value. Aerospike 6 launched into our document API and document data modeling. Aerospike SQL powered by Starburst was launched in 2022, and we do have customers that use us and build graph, which we'll show a little bit of, and time series applications on top of our data system. A lot of these data services I did refer to a little bit in the prior technology slide, and we have multiple storage engine options. Now I talked about the hybrid memory option, but for example, if you have a lot of objects, billions of objects, you could leverage your indexes, put them all into Flash, and then get still very good performance with that. You can access us with many clients in multiple languages and multiple APIs of your choice. We're multi-cloud, and we are able to connect to multiple streaming sources. So obviously we have connectors to Kafka, that's why we're here, but we do also connect to other popular systems, event stream processing as well, ESP, and the applications for it, whether it's as a system of engagement at the edge or even a feature store. Aerospike is very commonly used in that regards. Now in the back end, if you want to access Aerospike at scale, we do have Aerospike SQL powered by Starburst, which has Trino under the covers, really allows for, as Starburst would say, analytics anywhere. And this really allows you to analyze real-time data, run analytics on it. It's not an easy thing to do. You don't need to ETL it. You can analyze the data in place where it resides. No need to move it. And you can access it with systems like Tableau and the like for visualization and business analytics. Aerospike also, same platform, whether it's at the edge or as a system of record or as a feature store for AI ML. And you can send that data to any location that you want. And we'll get into a little bit more with our Connect for Kafka product. And so for our Connect portfolio, we often see that we deploy multiple connectors. And so a lot of times we'll see Connect for Kafka, again, taking multiple sources of data inbound. Again, we'll show some examples at the end, putting that data into enterprise systems, transactional systems, and then feeding it in conjunction with our Connect for Spark product into Spark clusters. And so Aerospike, why would you want to use Aerospike at the edge? you want to query that data, you want to be able to filter it, and you want to be able to even apply back pressure if it's streaming in at a very high rate. So Aerospike can do all of these things for your systems. And so what we see up on the screen here is really these are all the benefits that our clients get with us today. And in fact, we would refer to this as our brand promise. So unlimited scale, again, you can start from gigabytes and performs exactly the same predictably, up to petabytes. We would contend we have the lowest latency in the business, sub-millisecond, and industry leading uptime with globally strongly consistent data, not an easy thing to do. And so all this, we actually do reduce server footprints based on our unique infrastructure. The hybrid memory architecture requires a lot less infrastructure than putting everything in DRAM. You can put the data and access it very quickly from SSDs. Literally, we reduce on average 80% the infrastructures. And this is all throughout all of our clientele. And so we would say you could reduce your costs while increasing your business data. So Aerospike Connect for Kafka, we have both an inbound and an outbound product. For outbound, we're based on stream change notifications for create, update, or delete to downstream applications. These are similar to change data captures, CDC that used for traditional databases, and they can tell you when a record was created, updated, or modified in a database. And on the inbound side, data can come in from various applications to a Kafka cluster to our Aerospike Connect product as a sync connector to the Aerospike database. Okay. Now, the beauties of our Connect for Kafka is that we have support for all the most popular messaging formats. Our change notification streaming from Aerospike uses our XDR, cross-data center replication protocol, to downstream streaming applications. So it's very consistent across the Aerospike product line. Again, the messaging formats really makes your application integration much easier, right? Our intelligent message routing has the ability to route messages via Kafka based on all of the, I say metadata, but the namespaces. Aerospike defines database as a namespace, the equivalents of columns are bin values or sets or tables, and or static name topics from Kafka. So you can take from Aerospike, define very granularly to your downstream applications. So it's very rich. The Connect for Kafka passes a lot of information through. We can do message transformations to downstream applications via Kafka, as well as inbound, without worrying about the differences in your data models between Aerospike and different source systems. So fairly fully featured, pre-integrated, plug-compatible connector. And so we'd like to think that Aerospike Connect for Kafka makes it easy for enterprises to exchange data bidirectionally between Aerospike database and enterprise transactional systems, whether they're at the edge or at the core or both. And so as I keep alluding to some of our use cases. And so Connect for Kafka makes it easy for enterprises to address numerous bidirectional use cases, again, using our database and transactional systems. For financial services, you can bridge legacy systems. For e-commerce or retail, you can integrate behavioral real-time streaming with historical customer record data. For telecom, very similar, whether it's for IoT, multi-edge compute, or 5G architectures, you can do the same. Stream real-time information with back-end known information on your clients. For data lake or data warehouse integrations for real-time analytics, we refer to, again, with our Aerospike SQL or Presto Trino connectors, you can operationalize your data lakes really in real time for analytics. Ad tech, advertising technologies, think about real-time click streams on websites, that synchronization and integration of user profile stores and matching for real-time bidding. Very fast financial transactions really is how you could view the ad tech space. So let's get into it. This is actually PayPal's architecture for their fraud risk query engine using graph technologies on top of Aerospike. And so you can clearly see Aerospike in the middle. and event streams with Kafka, and historical information coming up from Hadoop at the bottom. Now, this architecture really elaborates on the real-time graph, both with the read and write path. In the write path, the offline data loading and event space graph, that data updates are abstracted into the graph process overall. In the read path, the graph query engine acts as a unified interface, and it's embedded into the graph query service for all their upstream services. You can see the compute service and the decision service there. And so PayPal's requirements were sub-second level query latency, and seconds level data freshness. So when they update, fraudsters are very sophisticated. You need to literally update your algorithms very quickly or near real time. But they really needed horizontal scalability with fault tolerance and millions of queries per second throughput. This second level is really kind of shows you the near real time and the offline synchronization into Aerospike using Kafka as well for all this data feeds. And so again, you can click into that Medium link if you want to read a bit more about the PayPal use case with Kafka and Aerospike. Another Aerospike customer is Myntra. They're owned by Flipkart Walmart. They're headquartered in Bangalore. They're an online retail store. They sell fashion apparel and lifestyle products. And so this architecture of theirs, helps them get ready for big events even. And so they have in September of 2022, on the 23rd, they actually have something called a big fashion festival. And they're aligning it with Flipkart's overall big billion days and Amazon India's Great Indian Festival sale. And so Myntra is expecting over 6 million concurrent users to their website. And so the notion here is that in the very middle, you can see Aerospike is being used as a feature store. This is their architecture. And the idea is that they're able to stream on the left all these application events using Kafka again. And they do processing with Spark, and that is what feeds into Aerospike as those machine learning feature stores. And that is how they're able to do this prediction of how to present the website for all these visitors. Very powerful. This other architecture is from our partner Hewlett Packard, and they designed this architecture for real-time processing of trading data. And so this is high-frequency trading, very efficient uses of Aerospike database and our connectors. Again, both of Kafka and Spark, as you can see, they do work together. On the left, live prices are streamed into the system using through Kafka in JSON format. The Kafka cluster acts as a streaming source for Spark streaming, and prices are streamed through Kafka Connect to an Aerospike instance that serves as a system of record. And so back to Spark, prices are processed individually through a decision engine, depending on a ticker decision to buy or sell is made. And then to enable decision processes, current prices for each stock ticker are obtained from Aerospike. So it's kind of a marrying of machine learning and real-time data. So the streaming with machine learning with both Spark and Kafka. Again, this is HPE's architecture that they submitted for us. And on an even more macro level, HPE has an industrial or IoT Industrial Revolution 4.0. And so they have this full stack data pipeline using largely open source software. And they would contend that Industry 4.0 is very high velocity, huge data volumes, huge data varieties, and Aerospike is at the front end. And they would contend no data losses with Aerospike. As you can see, clearly communicates with Kafka, clusters in the middle, communicating out to leveraging connectors to downstream data sinks, MapR, Hadoop, could be Hadoop, Vertica for machine learning. HPE likes it very fast. And it's all based on S3. So it's designed for a lot of flexibility. It's a microservices-based architecture. And so there you can get even a very macro level amount of data with Aerospike and Kafka. In one more financial services example with an Aerospike customer is to really bridge, do this modernization or offload or augmentation. And so the idea here is, perhaps not ironically, is again, a lot of customers for this online brokerage use, they have their fraud applications and their customer engagement applications, and they get all these inputs from, again, desktop, mobile, phone even, and they're processed to Aerospike as a system of augmentation that's communicating bidirectionally to all their backend systems, so their CRM systems, their billing systems, even their trades. And the idea is they want to make sure that things are not fraudulent, or if someone is online, say for a CRM system, that they're maybe perhaps making an offer to them to use additional services. And so JMS is very popular for mainframes. And so there's that connector is bidirectional into Aerospike, as well as for Kafka for messaging. And so these backend systems on the mainframe for authorization or for trade clearing, again, are done bidirectionally with Aerospike, augmenting with streaming information that's coming in from all those digital assets. And so if you were to kind of sum up what are the things that Aerospike can help you with unleashing real-time data? You know, the first thing is just a reassurance of being plug compatible. And so whether it's your enterprise data-wide stores or augmenting systems that you have today, you know, Aerospike can help drive modern data pipelines. The other thing is enable faster application development. And so you can, whether you're operating in AWS, multi-cloud, you can really use real-time user experiences to help with your application get more and better information. Aerospike 6 is something that can be leveraged without writing custom code. You don't need to disrupt any business processes. And again, Aerospike can enhance existing analytics today, allowing access to really orders of magnitude of data that you might not have access to, that's real-time streaming data without ETLing it. You can analyze it in place. So with that, I'll close. I hope you found this helpful, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.